Picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
Well, welcome back. Hey, it's Monday. It's a new week. It's going to be probably another one of those catch-all weeks as we get closer to Wonderfest. The to-do list and the checklist starts to get frantic. But I wanted to take some time this week to do a couple of things. One is to finish up, get the Oblivion drone ready to go. That I couldn't do when the weather was bad because, it depends on maybe being outside and having nice weather to make a good base. Might not need it after all, but that's one thing for this week. Another thing is I'm building a little Bandai kit. Now, last Wednesday was our model club meeting in a nearby town in a local hobby shop, Hangar 18. If you're in Cary, highly recommend it. Hi, Brian. Gets my full endorsement for having a full set of paints and whatnot. But like most hobby shops, particularly these days, it's full of anime kits. Now, they may be Gundam, they may be Marvel, they may be different subject matters, but they're all they come from the Mystic East. So there are a lot of Bandai kits, and I say that to say this. I don't know a lot of the subjects. I don't watch the shows. I watched when I was a kid a little bit of Kimba the White Lion. Knew some basic anime, Speed Racer, that sort of thing. Akira, Evangelion, that kind of stuff. But I'm not a big anime guy. So when I'm looking at anime kits, I'm looking at it with one criterion in mind. Is this an interesting kit? Am I going to have fun building it? Am I going to like the result? I guess that's three parts of one criterion. I don't care if it's the hero, the villain, or the janitor of the show. If it's an interesting vehicle, that's great. That's what I'm interested in. And I've been chided by this in the past. Why would you want to build that character? He's a so-and-so. He doesn't have, he's not important. Or on the other end, have not been reverent enough. It's like, I'll pick up this character. Oh, what's that? He goes, oh, you don't know who that is? That's the hero of so-and-so. That was, from this show and that movie and blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter to me. If it's an interesting subject, then I'll build it. So with that in mind, when I was over there last week, I was perusing the shelves, and I came upon this guy, and I thought it would be an interesting kit. And it is from a show called Sandland. It is the Sandland Tank 104. Now, I have no connection to this show. I had never heard of it before. So, over the weekend, I want to see if I could possibly download an episode or two and see what it's all about. It's quite fun. It's harmless. It's I don't know if it's, considered to be a very popular show or not. Certainly popular enough they made a model of it. But I like the design of the tank. I like the design of the characters that are in the tank. I like the fact that it had a full interior. It looked like it was going to be a fun build, even though Bandai kits, which I love to build in between other kits because it kind of, resets me. If you had a particularly hard struggle with something, clean your palette with a Bandai kit because it will make, it'll go along pretty easily, and make for a fun afternoon of putting something together. So let me show you get you down to the table and show you the result. And here is the result of the tank. Now it's got a Sandland sign here, which I'm still putting the lettering in. And the nice thing about it being a Bandai kit is means even though I've got it together like this, I can strip it all back down to parts and go back in and paint and weather and all that kind of stuff. And even though I just did that sandcrawler not too long ago, here I am back into the tank world. But I can have fun with some rust and some weathering and all that kind of stuff. And because I have no great connection to the show, I don't feel duty bound to be so reverent about it or unafraid to try anything new. These characters are quite fun. But I was looking at the box and I'm going, how in the world did they ever manage to paint the detail so delicately on these figures. So I think that's where I'm going to have my fun, is a little bit of weathering, some sand, some smoke, some rust, and we're going to have some fun with that. Like I said, it's all together. It didn't take all that long to do. It's before I put the decals on, I want to go back in and kind of weather it up. So we'll be having some fun with that this week. But most importantly for this week, we'll be getting the improved faceplate that Keith made for the Oblivion drone. We'll be getting that made. So let me pull some of this stuff off the table and pull out the drone. Now, it's true that I am also expecting the way delayed Robocop Pack 4 to arrive today. So I may take some time out and show you what that looks like. Haven't been doing much coverage on the Robocop build, strictly because there's been so little to do with each pack that there's not all that much to do. But now that I've got Pack 4 coming in, I can show you Pack 4 and catch you back up on the parts of Pack 5 that I couldn't do without it. So yeah, it's going to be a catch-all week. Hopefully there'll be something in here you enjoy, and we'll see how it goes. One last note before I pop this away, at least take it off the table for a minute. Of course, this being a Bandai kit, you always have to stop and marvel at the multi-colored styrene injection method that they use. This was one runner that's got at least 3 colors on it. It's amazing. My head is off to them, but they do some astounding work, and you can never fault the fit on a Bandai kit. And I didn't mean to make that rhyme. The fit on a Bandai kit cannot be rivaled. I just wish that they had, more interesting stuff for me. Now, I've done quite a few Star Wars kits that Bandai has done, so like I know they are capable of it, and some of the odder. Bandai also did the cup noodle kit. I cannot, that they get a pass for life just for doing the cup of noodle kit. So that my esteem for them knows no end. Alrighty, I'm working on the faceplate for the drone, and one of the first things I had to do before I decided whether I was going to use this or not was to make the hinge function. Now, the hinge, as it's designed, would work. Unfortunately, the way I got the parts, they weren't quite as strong in that area as they might have needed to be, for the way that basically there were 2 side holes here on either side of that, and then there were 2 pins on the door. Well, I think the pins on the door were fine, but I think the side holes here weren't quite what they needed to be. So what I had to do is drill straight through and put a metal pin, just a straight pin. I put a pin in as a hinge. I was able to take the tiny drill bits and drill through the parts of this door to let that pinhole, let the pin function. But I needed to create a more stable channel there for the pin to go in. So as it is now, it won't take a lot of abuse, but it'll function the way it's meant to for what it needs to do. And what I want to do now is on this side put a magnetic latch, and probably that will involve just putting a little piece of metal here and burying a magnet on that side that I can so when I close it, it'll have something to hold up against. The mail has gone, and the day has come that I never thought I'd see, and that is Pack 4 of the Robocop. I'm going to take a few minutes here, knock this together, and then do the last 2, 17 and 18, that I couldn't do without Pack 4. So, oh, and they also sent this lovely binder in today's shipment. So, I don't know how many of these binders we'll end up getting, but they, or whether you have to buy the rest after you get the first one, I don't know. But we'll go ahead and put the sticker on this, if I can get the adhesive to come off of the back of it. Let's see, where's my, there it is, my hobby knife. Here we go. Okay, I'll put the one on here. Get my big old fingerprint in the way. There. First thing done. Now I can take all of my old magazines and we're going to start knocking these out. Okay, at the end of issue 11, yeah, this is issue 11, we put this piece on and we've attached the hand. So now we've got most of a functioning right arm. Still have a bunch of stuff in here to go, and I believe that is the topic of issue 12. So issue 10 or issue 11 goes bye-bye. Put it in the new binder, and we get out issue 12. Issue 12. Issue 12, yes, okay. Again, each of these issues, startlingly little to do. It is quite a contrast to the Optimus Prime build. Now, okay, this is the piece we need. Okay, we'll be back. Okay, I was wrong. What we did was we put these two outer panels on and we put this little thing in the center, so we still have all of this to go. And it looks like we're moving on to the foot. Yeah, we're moving on to the left foot because that's where we picked it up on the stage that I did get. So we're done with this arm for right now. So we can wrap it up in some, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up in the foam here and the bubble wrap and put it back in the box for another month or so. Okay, left foot, and that is these parts here. Let's get started. Okay, looks like I've got a majority of my left foot here. We're ready to, I think we're ready to catch back up with the pack that we were missing. So pack 15 is to add, yeah, 15 is the first of the ones we couldn't use. And that will put the plate on the bottom of the foot. Okay, Robocop is packed up for another month or so, 6 weeks. But at least to know that we're not missing any stages at this point. We're all caught up. Now it's time to put in the magnet that's going to keep this door closed. I don't want to overdo it with that because I still need to get underneath there to pry it open when I need to open it. But here you can see I've got the pin hinge buried. And I'm going to put just a X-Acto blade or some piece of metal here and then bury the, because I've got more meat to drill into for the battery, or for the magnet. I need to go ahead and do that on that side rather than trying to put the magnet on the door. There's just not, it's a lot riskier to put it on the door. So got the drill in the, or the bit in the drill. Let me get my goggles on and drill a hole. Took a gamble and it paid off. I tried putting just a flat piece of metal there on the door. Didn't quite pull it tight as I wanted, so I did go ahead and drill in for a magnet. Came awfully close to coming out this side, but I can cover that up with a little bit of paint. It's just some discoloring. I had my finger on it so that I could, if I felt the drill bit getting close, I would stop, and so I did. But we've got a magnet there, and we've got a magnet on this side, so that when I put that down like that, it does hold it in place. That's really all it needs to do, and it's easy enough to open, so it's achieving its purpose. Now, just because this is printed in black does not mean I'm not going to paint it. It just means that when I do paint it, if the paint chips or rubs off, it will still be black underneath. But I do want to put a coat of paint on this, so that'll be the next step. And then after that happens, I can put the red LED in and go about the the deal where I will paint in some of the details and do the googly eyes over the lenses. So we're almost back up to speed on that. This is the base. You might recognize this. This is the Deep Space Nine kit base. Because it's got the 3 points that I want to use, I think this was the idea that was percolating in my head, and rather than starting from scratch, I just pulled the Deep Space Nine base out, and this way I can run 3 small lengths of this clear tubing, one from each of these sides, and that will allow me to rest the drone. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. It's late in the afternoon, kids. I'm losing my words, but I can put that something like that and rest it on 3 points, and it will be more stable than the single tube that it's on now. Hey everybody, it's Tuesday. I'm getting back to work on the replacement faceplate for the drone, the Oblivion drone, and I've got all my parts laid out and all the things I think I'm going to need. This is the old one that I have cut the wires to. Now, it was very handy that I kept Ralph's instructions from the board originally, because that told me something that I had forgotten, and that is that all of the resistors that you would normally put on a LED to make them work under 9-volt situations are on the board. So I don't need to add resistors to the LEDs. I had forgotten that. Sometimes it's a crapshoot. Sometimes the resistors are on the board, sometimes you have to add them. So it's good that I kept my instructions. So this is the replacement eye, the red LED that's going to go here. I've got the googly eyes pulled out for the lenses that I need. These are the new parts. This is the well that goes. Go ahead and dump those off. Pull those over there. This is the well that's going to go behind the new door. It's going to fit like this. And then there's a back wall with a battery core. Now, I'm going to check the movie again just to see the coloring that has to happen inside of here. I didn't pay that much attention to it last time because that part wasn't on the kit. Now, I think one thing I'm going to do that is going to make it different, even after I check the movie, I'm going to make sure, I think it's going to be a variation, is I want to use one of these color changing bulbs in here. Now, it's only because I have an opportunity to use it, and I think it'll be a neat thing to have happen. And this will be a bulb that'll go back in here, and it cycles through different colors, and I think that's just a little bit more visually interesting than having a straight bulb in there. In the movie, if I'm remembering it correctly, I think that was a replaceable or removable battery type of thing. Maybe a memory core, it may have been a battery, I have to check. But it was removable, and that was the part that Tom Cruise's character was fiddling with. But it's not going to be removable here. It's going to be a stationary light, so we'll put that in the back, and this whole thing will sit in that hole. Let's see, it's designed to go this way and then fit inside the hole like this. So we're going to want to add some color in there to break it up from all of the black. So I need to check what those colors are, and then of course we'll have the red eye up here. So let me go do a quick bit of reference checking. Now, as I said yesterday, just because this is printed in black does not mean I'm not going to paint it. I still am. I just don't have to cover every nook and cranny with it. So I need to get a coat of paint on that. Let's get the bulbs installed, get a coat of paint on it, and then I can do, while that's drying, I can maybe work on this the base that I've got over here. I want to make this nice delicate base, but this delicate base may not have enough meat on it to hold up the weight of the drone, because the drone model kit is very heavy. So if this doesn't hold the weight, we might have to go with something more substantial, but I'm liking the elegant lines of it, and I might need to adjust the I like the angles here, but I might need to adjust the length of these tubes. So let's get those. I think I want to go ahead and get those at least tacked in place with some CA and see if that will be enough. Okay, back from checking reference. This is a power cell. It goes inside of here, which was largely black and kind of it had some detail to it. I think what I'm going to do with this is maybe give it a coat of some gunmetal just to vary it from the black a little bit. Maybe do some dry brushing of some silver to bring out the highlights. This was a red or a pinkish light in here, and I'm still going to go with the color changing because we've got the red eye. I don't want to add just another red light here. This was the laser scanner that did the sweep of the dugout at the in the football stadium / baseball stadium, that scanned the dog and scanned Jack. So we're not going to put a light inside there, although it's very tempting to. At the very end of the movie, they have a drone that Jack has fixed with the bomb, and that lights up. But that, again, it only lights up to help you differentiate it from the other drones. And this is number 166, so that's the one I've got the decal for, and 166 did not have that red light in it. So I think we've got our marching orders here. I can paint this up while this is drying. I can also do the lighting while this is drying, so I'm going to go ahead and paint some black on this. We're going to start by using the semi-gloss. I believe this was a, well, see, we're going to end up flat coating it anyway to cover up the decal once it's in, so it doesn't really matter what particular color of black I use there, whether it's, you know, gloss, semi-gloss, or flat, because it's all going to be covered. Alrighty, faceplate is progressing. I've got the googly eyes cut. Now, I've also put a little bit of gloss clear right here where the decal goes. I need to get the decal down and put a flat coat over everything before I put the googly eyes down, because I don't want them to get fogged over by the flat coat. So next step is decal, and then flat coat, googly eyes. Actually, no, before the googly eyes go down, flat coat, and then touching up with the silver, particularly where the googly eyes are underneath where the googly eyes are going to go, and then I can put them down. But what I got to do right now is, and before I head out to lunch, and it's a little bit late for lunch, but I need to go, is put the decal down for the number, and then I can let that be drying while I am having lunch. Okay, the decal is down. It just needs to dry for a good long while, and then we'll be able to put a coat on the top of that. Meanwhile, I can start painting the silver. Now, well, see, here's the thing. If I paint silver now, then I go to flat coat it, it's going to dull the silver down. So I think I'm better off holding back on the silver until after the clear coat. I think I'm going to have to admit that as much as I like these delicate stands, they're not going to do the job. That Oblivion drone is just too heavy and bulky to rest on these three delicate points. You know, I'm thinking of Sargon, classic Trek, Henoch, Sargon, and Thalissa, where you had a big globe just perched on three delicate points like this. But the problem with that is those were very light, hollow spheres with lights in them. They weren't this heavy, and those were probably steel or aluminum, pins they were sitting on. They were not, they looked delicate, but they were not flimsy. And everything that I'm trying to do here is, I think, just not substantial enough. This is the stand that I had before, this is the kind of downward circle or perch that I'm trying to emulate. And I'm wondering if maybe a combination of these two ideas is what I need, because what I like about this is that it has enough surface and the drone sits in it and it's kind of nice. But what I don't like about it is it might rock back and forth like this. So maybe this with legs on it might be a better solution. Putting legs that stick out and make this more substantial, make the bottom of this more substantial, might be the solution that that's going to make everybody happy. Okay, closing down for today. I think I've got a new direction to head on the base for the Oblivion drone. We've got the decal is drying in nicely. We're going to let that sit overnight and then put a flat coat on that tomorrow, and then finish up the work with the painting and the googly eyes and that sort of stuff. We'll do all that tomorrow. While I was at it, one last thing I wanted to do tonight was to paint the inside of the Sandland tank. And I noticed in the show it was more of a deep blue-green, deep teal than it was the brownish color of the plastic. So I've masked off the areas that I think need to have that the baffle plate, which is that the waffle plated metal. I'll do that in a metallic gray. And then so obviously all of these details will get painted in a different color, but I noticed it had more of that color of cast. So I did that, and also painted all the inside walls of the tank itself that color, so that we're not yellow on the inside anymore. And then we'll do all of our detail work based on that, but that can be drying overnight while we're waiting for that to happen, and all of these mechanics here can be drying as well. There are certain things I can go ahead and glue together, certain things that I'd want to keep apart because it's easier to paint that way. Now I think these figures I can probably go ahead and glue up, and I think I can go ahead and glue up the tank treads, although I do want to take them out of the fenders here so that I can paint those up and weather them before we stick them back inside there. So we'll be getting more into that later in the week. We got plenty of time to worry about that. In the ranks of things that are important to things that are not important, it is more important to get the drone fixed and done so that I can get it ready to go rather than the tank, because the tank is not going. So there's your reasoning why. Howdy and good morning. It's Wednesday. I've been painting details today. Tiny details. I started with the faceplate on the drone. Let me clean up a little bit here. I started with the faceplate on the drone. I've got the silver accent. Well, first I sprayed a flat coat on it to let the decal get sealed in, and then I painted the silver details in, and I used the this guy, Molotov liquid chrome. Put a little bit into top of a mixing shot glass there, and dipped in there, and then after that I glued down the googly eyes, and in this case I went in with the UV glue and put 3 glops on there that, you put a drop in there and it kind of domes up because it's a gel and it keeps its shape, and then you hit it with the UV flashlight and it makes a nice little lens there. It's a nice clean, you see the gloss on it. It looks like a little bit of a lens there. So I got that stuff. That's kind of drying at this point. Went ahead and glued the back in, the well that's behind there, so that when I open up this, I now see the well that's in there, and there's a light. So this is basically ready to be reattached to the drone as soon as that cures a little bit longer. And then I went in and started painting details on the Sandland tank. And that's been fun. Last night I hit the base here with my famous, well, not my famous, I didn't invent it, but one of my go-tos, which is the sand texture paint. And now I can go in and kind of sit this on top of it. I'm going to do a little bit of airbrushing on here just to accentuate some shading on that with a bit of a darker brown. As a matter of fact, I could probably go ahead and do that now if I was of a mind to. And then I started painting on the little figures. Little figures are a bear, I gotta tell you. I'm not used to painting. It's been a while since I painted this kind of a detail. And then I painted basic colors in. Then I went over it with the Tamiya panel line accent. Because these are animated characters, it helps if it looks like everything has got a nice black outline around it. So those are drying, and then I'll go back in with a dry brush and hit the highlights of those colors again. So yeah, it's been a little bit of everything this morning. Trying to keep the number of paints that I've got out to a minimum, because that just keeps the desktop a little bit cleaner. Let's see, let's put this away, and the microcrystal clear goes away. That goes over there. All of these tools go away. I'm back on the base for the Oblivion drone. I've got an idea that I think I want to work on, extrapolate, experiment with, take a little further down the road, whatever metaphor you want to use. But to do that, I need to wait for which is probably open by now. I was waiting for the craft store to open. Took care of some stuff I needed to get into the mail, and that kind of stuff. It's been one of those mornings. But now I think I would like to take a little bit of this. Let's see, that's flat brown. I want to use more like a distress texture. I use more like a wash on this bit here. And let's turn the brush on. I actually want to make the noise. And we'll see if that's the one, or do I want to use... I think I might want to use the sepia shade, and then I'll go back over with the weathering sand wash that I used on the sand crawler, because it's sand. This is the perfect place for it. I'll be using a lot of this sand wash on the trail, on the tracks, and on the skirting here on the tank. So yeah, it's weathering day here. It's paint day. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think we have a base. Went to the craft store. What was bugging me about this whole setup was the small footprint this was putting on the ground as far as wanting to topple. That's why I wanted to go with a 3-prong base that had a wider footprint. This was not the answer. I found that out after I tried sitting something on it. It's the weight of it is too much. So I went back to my original tube, but that tube wasn't quite gonna cut it. So I figured if I made the base on it wider, made it harder for it to tip over. Now this is still gonna just sit on top of that. So we still have to be careful that it's not attached to anything. But I think we are in a much better place now with the stability. So I think what I can do at this point is paint this black. I see a wood base and I want to paint it black, and we can balance the drone on top of it just like that, and it'll sit nicely, and I can play and give it jaunty angles and things like that, which is kind of nice. Something you can't do necessarily on a 3-point plug. Now, the last thing to do construction-wise is to attach this wire to that wire, and that will allow me to put the new faceplate in. So we're all good on that. I think what I'd like to do, it's kind of overcast outside, so I want to get a coat of black on that while I still can. So let's pull this out, and then clean it off really well. When we're all said and done, I could put some epoxy around that to hold it in place. But for right now, all I need to do is push that back out through there and get some paint on this donut. Okay, so while the base is drying outside, I went ahead and reattached the faceplate and checking the remote, making sure everything is still working. There you go. We've got the power cell inside the cubby here, and it's got one of those RGB bulbs that's cycling through. Now it may be a limitation of what is on the juice it's getting from Ralph's board, but it's not doing all of the cycling it's capable of. It's going from red to green with a little bit of blue, and then it fades out and comes back red again. I've used these bulbs before, and if you put a lot of volts through them, they will go nuts. You'll get whites and yellows and all kinds of colors out of it. But to do that, you've got to put 9 volts through it straight. And this is on a resistor and also sharing the power with the bulb here. So that could be why we're getting limited. I don't mind it's going from red to green to blue and then out. That doesn't bother me. It's just, you know, I know what you're capable of, and I kind of miss those other ones. But there's that color. The engines in the back will come on if I press B, and then the guns are C. So I'm gonna close this back up. It's got a little magnet on it, and we are ready to put this on the base, and it'll be all done. Hello everybody, welcome back. It is Thursday, the gateway to the weekend, and I'm at that dangerous place. You've seen me at this dangerous place before. I'm no stranger to it. This is the place where I've got too much time on my hands, and I'm about to do something stupid. I have lived with this kit, I have lived with this drone since I finished it in its pristine, clean state. And going back and looking at some of the bits of the film again for reference for the new plate that I put in, I'm starting to wonder whether or not I should dirty it up. Dirty it up just a bit, but dirty it up nonetheless. Now the problem with that is you only get one crack at it. If I screw up the dirtying on this white, I either have to live with it or I have to completely repaint it. And neither of those options appeal to me. Well, it appeals to me to live with it in a good state, but not living with it in a bad state. So that's where I'm at. I've got time. I can do it. It's a question of should I, because I'm really liking the dirtier version. I realized the reason I have this paint out is I realized I had forgotten to put the scorching around one set of thrusters like I did the others, and I figure I've got the paint out. Should I do it or should I not? Oh, and the other thing is I have got the I always enjoy seeing how clean the microcrystal clear dries when it does. And the microcrystal clear has set up since yesterday when I glued the googly eye tops in, and they look completely clean and wonderful. But the easiest ones to do would be these ones. And the problem is everything kind of has to get dirty from the face back. So it's not a question of, you know, putting indiscriminate scorch marks, everything. It's a distinct path of direction, and it's face on. So anything I do would have to come from the face down. Drone 166 does have a distinct set of marks on its forehead. I'm going to get this in camera here. Right about in this area here, there's a distinct set of scorches that I could try to emulate and put on there. But I think the first ones that I want to do, just see how well it would work, is if I do these guys, then this is a fairly isolated set. And if something goes amiss, or if I don't do it right, I can white back over that pretty easily without getting into the rest of the kit. It's the ones up on the forehead and all that. That's when you start getting into the danger zone. So I'm going to try these very lightly, and then we're going to see if it's something I want to continue. Okay, you know, that's not so bad. I went very lightly, and I think it looks even a little bit lighter on camera than it does in real life. I went really lightly with that, and I'm liking it. So I'm going to look around the side. There are some other places where the dirt is kind of going behind. Let me get this tank out of the way. Try to move this so you can see what's going on here. Let me push the base out of the way. There is some stuff here. For example, where those pins are, where my finger is there, that it could be darked around that. So let's maybe try that section next. I'm finding something in my research that I don't know how to duplicate, so I'm not going to try. In this area up here, it looks almost like a cave painting type of thing of what looks like it could be an interpretation of Jack's character from the back. Some sort of figure, almost like, I don't know how it would have gotten there, but it looks like almost a kill marking that you would put on the side of a plane. You know how they would, you know, how many enemy they shot down, that type of thing. But I, for the life of me, couldn't figure out who would have done it. I thought it was just some sort of dirt scratches in here, but looking at further details, it looks like a, well, let me see if I can find a picture of it, and I will show it to you. Okay, here's what that looks like. Then now this is a standing version. Looks very much like it is the filming version of the prop. Now this is a special effects artist next to it. This is not, or a builder next to it. This is not a scene from the movie. But that's what I'm talking about right there. And I, for the life of me, couldn't figure out who. The Tet wouldn't put that on there. Who would put that on there? So I'm going to kind of discount it. These subtle stripes are all coming out from the nose, and I think that's the kind of stuff that I want to include now. Now here's that same thing, and this is a still from the film, and you see that same outline there. I am more tempted just to put that dirt smudge down the center than I am to try to duplicate that. And here it is again in that, here's a scene or a still from the film. And there's that detail again. That was not provided as a decal, so I'm not going to try to duplicate it here. Okay, I think I've reached the point of enough is enough. I've got some scorching on there. It's not a whole bunch, but it's more than when I started with. It's not the clean white ball that I started with this morning, and I think that I've served my purpose on that. I don't think I need to. I might want to blacken up just a little bit around these, but I think I'm done. Okay, with the drone off the table, I am back concentrating on the Sandland tank, and I'm about ready to close it up. I've done some aging and some washing and some highlighting inside. I like the blue-green color better than the stock color. I've also aged up the treads. Now, these are a combination of rust and silvers and different metallics. Now, it's one thing animation can't do is really express a metallic color. They can draw a gleam on a piece of gray and make you think that it's silver. Excuse me, make a white highlight and then a gleam. But really all of the colors are painted on, and it's what you can photograph, and you can't really get a good metallic representation. So I am throwing that in where they may color something brown. I am putting silver and then rust around it. So I'm happy with the treads. I'm happy with this is the horrible underside that you won't really see, but I was using it to try out some rusting techniques. And what I'd like to do is start assembling this to the point where I can do the outer side. Now I've done put a lot of browns and rusts on the outside. I would consider that to be pre-shading. I will go back over this with a yellow that will knock some of that down, and then I'll go in with a fine brush and some washes and lay more distinct lines in. But for right now, I need to pull these fenders back off and put the treads in place. Alrighty, I'm getting ready to close up the interior, I think. I've just gone through and used the stickers. Now, they did not completely duplicate the stickers to the decals, which it always bugs me when they do that, because I much rather prefer to use decals. They just stick down better to me, ironically, than stickers do. But there were some elements that were only provided as stickers, like the fire extinguisher label there, and the water bottle label here, and a couple other things. I wish they had completely duplicated the stickers to decals 1-to-1, but they did not. So that's what my griping and whining gets me. So really, we're to the point now. I've done all those little tiny things. I couldn't close up the walls here. I've picked out some details with silver. I've picked out some details with a wash, where I put the accent wash lining in, like around this typical inside wall, where like around the wiring and such. And that's really about all we can do. I can do maybe another round of that. I think I'd like to go back in and maybe paint those straps, call those out a little bit, and then we'll be ready to close this up. I have got the treads on the bottom. This more or less is ready to go. So yeah, I think we are way past lunch, so I think I'm in a great place where I can take a break. Okay, we're coming along. We got the two walls lined up. Got these. Well, we don't have the bottom attached, but there's only so much we can do now. I really can't put the front on until I put the characters in place. And as much fun as I've had painting them, I don't know that I want to say that they're finished yet. So we've got to get those guys done before we can close this up completely. My goal would be to get this on. And of course the turret will move, so it doesn't really get glued down, but to get that on and the yellow painted this evening before before bedtime, that gives it all night to dry. Then I can come back in and do the fine weathering tomorrow, which would be, the running streaks and the rusting and that kind of stuff. And I really want to have the base coat be dry for a good long while before I do that. So I think we've got our marching orders. I just need to make myself happy with those characters. Okay, so I am getting ready to close up the interior. Now I've got the first two figures, Thief and Beelzebub, in place because I can't really get them there once the walls are in place. But it does turn out that I can get Rao in from the side, combination of going through the top and through the side door. So I can leave him out until I'm ready to finish up, which is good because he was the one that I had the least amount of done with. So this is all happy and good. And I'm smiling faces. You may not be able to see them that well after I close everything up, even though there is a front hatch there. It's not very bright in there once you get all the walls in. So I am ready to close up this piece onto here, and then we can put the turret in place and put it on the base and get a base yellow or a chrome yellow or a desert yellow on there in such a way that tomorrow I can re-weather it. Okay, it's all together and pre-shaded. Now I will let this dry for a good long while, and before I turn in tonight, I will base color it in yellow to tone all of that down. I need to choose which of my yellows I'm going to use. Probably start with a desert yellow, work my way back up to plain old yellow. Good morning, everybody. It's Friday, the last work day of the week, the last work day on the Sandland tank, Tank 104, and I've been cheating. Well, not cheating so much. I've been doing the work. I just didn't do it on camera because it's Friday morning and I got an early jump on it and didn't, you know, when I work in the mornings, I usually have the radio on. And if I do that, then you've got to worry about blocking the sound and all the copywritten music and all that. So, what I thought I'd just catch you up. Now, this morning, first thing I did was put a clear coat on this early this morning. And what that did is it brought out a lot of the color, plus it gave me a surface to stick the decals down, which I have just done. Let me tell you, these Bandai decals, I don't think I've ever seen anything better than a Bandai decal. I think it's a shame sometimes when they use the stickers, and that's the only way you can add the graphics. I much prefer their decals. Now, after I put the decals down because I wanted to get them underneath the layer of weathering, I've just gone around with the AK miniatures. Actually, no, this is a Vallejo environment rust texture. Watered it down a whole bunch, and I've just been, you know, playing with it, putting it in the welds, that sort of thing. And I think it's coming along quite nicely. And then I took the highlight silver, which is just your Vallejo chrome, and dry brushed on some of the spots where I thought the wear would be, so where the paint might have been worn off, like on footfalls and hand grips and things like that. We are almost to the point of being done, but again, we're gonna let let's see, we got the window, we got the doors to open. There are no decals on the front, which I thought was kind of strange. But the doors open, you see the characters inside, and then the doors you have to kind of push up and back in. The turret moves on this as the gun goes up and down, but the turret also spins and the hatches open. The last bits to put on here are some of these metallic pieces and the big mufflers. Again, nice thing about a Bandai kit is it all snaps together, so you can take it apart as needed. I'm going to go in and do a little bit more rusting work and some streaking grime, but we're pretty much done to the point where I think I might want to let these decals sit for a bit and then flat coat the whole thing. Now, you know, you could make this look more like the cartoon or the anime, excuse me, the anime by painting in more flat tones and make it, you know, there's a whole technique of making things look like, I think it's called cell shaded technique, where you do use flat colors and you make it very graphic and you put like hard shadow lines and things in it like that. I'm not, that wasn't the goal on this, so that's not what I decided to do. Try to treat it in almost in the realistic tone of if these were real people, would the colors be a little bit more varied than just the flat tones of an anime. Let me show you the box, and you can see, you know, where they're coming at. Where we got some, you know, some airbrush smudges on here, but then you have these hard shadow lines that are more indicative of the cell shaded technique. Here you can see it on the character's face here, that hard shadow line. And I've seen some really beautiful stuff done that way. I just I've never really tried it myself, and I didn't think this was the best guinea pig for trying it out for the first time. I might try that on a much larger kit where the details are much bigger. But we're going to sit this. It's had its first round. Excuse me. I'm going to let the decal set in here and then got to give it a flat coat and maybe one more round of rusting on top of that. We're back with the tank after the flat coat has dried. And boy, howdy, look at those. You can't see a single bit of carrier film from those decals. It's a marvel. Bandai decals, there's nothing better. So one last little touch up of the rust, and I think we're done. I want the rust and the oil spills because I want them to be glossy I wanted to put them on there so that they would be glossy when I put them on the kit, because that's how it should look, or on the finish of it. So I'm just trying to find my my engine soot or streaking grime. The streaking grime has a green tint to it that I don't like. I'm not going to use it on this kit because the green isn't appropriate, but I will use some rust texture, and I will use some where was it? It was just here. Oiled earth. That's what I think I'll use. And there, my friends, is the finished Sandland tank. I'll raise it up off the base. See if I can show you any of the goodies inside. There's Sheriff Rao and the demon Beelzebub, and the thief back in the corner there. Like I said, without lighting in there, it makes it very difficult to see the detail. But it's all in there. Maybe if I put a hold the phone here for a second. Okay, we'll put a light down the turret barrel there, and now you can see in there a little bit better. Or putting a light in the doorway there. That lights up Rao a lot more. But a cute little kit to finish off the week. Another nice little Bandai kit. And so we find ourselves at the end of another week of model building and 35 days away from Wonderfest. So the pressure is on now for me to get everything dusted off and ready to enter. And that was certainly the focus of the beginning of the week, getting the Oblivion drone back up to speed with that new faceplate from Keith over at Cosmic Scale Models. It's my understanding that is standard. That's a standard part now. I had just built mine before he had made that change. So he sent me along the upgraded part. But if you buy it now, you'll get it that way. That's my understanding. So between that and spending a few minutes on Robocop and then the rest of the time on the Sandland tank, it's been it's been a juggling act this week. I've got the desk cleared off because I've got notification that the ultimate Optimus Prime pack set 12 is inbound. Should be here tomorrow. You will have seen the video hopefully by now, because I plan on jumping on that just as soon as I can, and I don't even know how much or how long it'll take. I think it was 60 pages of instructions just on that last section. I'd have to double check, but I think it's 60. And then there are the accessories that go with it. So that'll be a separate video. I don't mean to take up that time here, but it was fun learning about Sandland. Had never heard a thing about it before I picked up the model, and yeah, I didn't make mine nearly as clean as the one in the instructions. They did just minimal weathering and put the decals on, but I went, you know me, I'm going to go whole hog on something like this. So when you see how cute it is, it's just so cute. So cute when it's little, and it takes up just the right amount of shelf space. So until next week, when I'm not sure exactly what it'll be, probably will be dusting off, or you'll see Prime, but then next week, I don't know exactly what it'll be. I think I like this idea of splitting it up into tinier little things, but it may be time to start one big project again. So until that fateful day when I figure it out, y'all be safe, be smart, be good, stay interesting, and we'll see you here next week.